Well, welcome back, and today we are going to look at two products that are similar but yet different in many ways, mostly in controls and some in application factors. I'll explain a little bit more of my experience with both of these products. Neither product was given to me as a promotional item. These were both purchased by me. The first one is the DJI Osmo Mobile 2. The second one is the ZhiYun Smooth 4. Okay, right off the bat, you do see there is a difference in size, and they both do come in a styrofoam case. It's better than nothing. They both flip up, and there's a plastic binding clip in the middle that keeps them together. Here we have our USB to USB-C for charging, the gimbal itself, and the Smooth 4 does come with a small tripod. On the DJI side, we have the same thing here. Same kind of plastic insert binding. And we have our USB-A to micro USB for charging and our gimbal. I will say the DJI case does have better seal. So when you shut this, you actually feel that little snap. Yeah, it does definitely have a tighter snap to it. Off the bat, unlike the Smooth 3, the Smooth 4 no longer allows a whole entire 360. I believe the reason for not allowing the full 360 is it says it wears down the motors faster. We can see there's a lot more controls on the Smooth 4, including a wheel, which is actually used for zooming in and out, as well as focusing, and this is selectable through this button here. We have our pan follow me mode and our lock mode, which is switchable. And on the Osmo 2, it's a single click of the button that actually switches between the pan and follow me mode. The adjusting and balancing seem to be about the same. Considerable difference in size though. If storage is a concern, as far as your camera bag and everything goes, then this may be a concern in general. The DJI one is also lighter and seems to conform to the hand better as far as how it's shaped. On the other hand, the Smooth 4 seems to be a little bit more just squarish. There's no contour for your hand. It's just kind of squared off. As far as being balanced, even without the phone in there, the Smooth 4 is more top heavy. Yeah, the DJI is definitely more balanced, and the Smooth 4 is more top heavy. The major differences being, of course, we have our zoom here on the Osmo, our record button, and our joystick, which can either be just your up and down, your left and right, or you can use it in a 360 fashion that is selectable within the application itself. Over here, this is a multifunction jog wheel. This will select between focus and zoom. This will take a picture. This, of course, would be record. This is your power button. Your power button for your DJI is actually holding down the M. If you buy the DJI Osmo Mobile 2, and you first put your phone in, and you turn it on, and it does this. Nothing. But the lights are on. It's not defective. You actually have to download the DJI Go app on your phone and log in with the DJI account. And during the login of the app, it pairs up via Bluetooth to your phone and sends a signal and basically activates it. Over here we have a display which will turn the display on and off on the app on the phone. We have your menu button, which is also your return or back button. And the multi-jog wheel, if you hold down the flash in the middle, it will turn on the flash. This also goes through your flash settings as well. This is to select different menus. When you pull up the menu, you can scroll through to select what you want. The flash button also acts as the enter button. Once you enter the feature you want, you can go back, go into a different menu, enter, select what you want, select it, and go back. We also have ways of enabling certain features like turning on your front-facing camera or going to your rear camera. Of course, you can't do this while you're recording. Going to the play menu, so you can actually see, you just push down is your play menu. So it's actually a 4-way function button as well as a scrolling jog dial as well. This is your exposure rate, and I've updated the firmware on both of these. Actually, these are both fully updated. There is one thing that I did consider an advantage at one point on the Smooth 4, and it's the fact that it has this locking standby mode. There's this little metal dial back here that actually goes into a switch right here, and when you push this down, it locks into place. By activating that switch, it tells the motors not to try to run anymore. For iPhone 10 users, one of the downfalls of Face ID is it doesn't work in landscape. Now I'm in that situation where I forgot to log into my phone. I can do my Face ID, put it in standby mode, and it will go right back. This way I can look at myself, swipe up, launch the app. And the app by default puts you in this new version of the app. It's called the Pro version. The Pro version meaning most of the buttons are not selectable. It's the Pro version because you're supposed to be using all the buttons down here. So as you can see, I can pull up the menu button, I can use the scroll wheel, and I can go to where I want to go to, like my resolution, hit the flash or enter in the middle. And from here I can pick the resolution. I'm going to do 1080p 60. You can also select other things like your scene, walking, motion. There's different filters. Then we have different settings here as well. This is actually the zoom speed basically. So this actually handles how fast you zoom in and how fast you zoom out when you scroll that wheel. Instead of you trying to turn the wheel faster, you can actually control that through the software. In fact, that doesn't work. Although you just saw it kind of skipped a beat there. I kept that nice and smooth on my action. But it looks like it's changing speeds when I'm zooming in. And there it looks like it stopped. I'm scrolling the wheel at the same speed though. So I find that interesting how that is kind of failing. So there's some software that still needs to be worked on with the Smooth 4. Seems like the slower I go, seems like it wants you to go slow. I didn't quite notice that in my testing. I want to keep it on high though. What else do we have here? The pano time, and then optical image stabilization. You can turn this on or you can turn this off. I'm going to put this off for now and I'll explain why in a second. Turning it off is just kind of like a digital cropping, I guess you could say. It doesn't really turn it off. It just tries to take that jello effect out of it. If you prefer the older style app where you touch everything, you can change that here. We can go back to the original. I'm going to keep it on Pro because that's what most people are going to see when they first open it up. Then there's this beauty cam. They both have it. It's supposed to make you look better, I guess. Enhance your beauty. Is that it? We can go in and we can set our white balance right from the wheel. HDR for your camera on or off. Timer settings, so your default timer settings, anytime you select the timer, 2 seconds, 5 seconds, 10 seconds. And your flash, auto, steady light, or on, steady light. It just turns on your flash, as you just saw. You can also do this steady on and off with the flash. If I put this back to auto, and then I decide that I want the flash off, I can just hold down that button here, and that will turn the flash on and off. So here at this point, the only thing that you really need to touch are your 2 triggers in the back, which is how you navigate your up and down motion. The bottom trigger is your basic navigation. It takes a bit to get used to. Your top trigger is what's called phone mode. It puts extra torque to the motors, so during the phone it will actually keep it locked a lot steadier, a lot harder, where if I do that without it, It takes a second to catch up. Shows you two indications. You have your phone battery and your gimbal battery as well. And I think pretty much your only touch button from here is your home button. You can go to your play, and this is the tracking mode where you can select an object to the follow me mode, or tracking as they say. I did mention you can change things by hitting up. So up automatically goes to resolution. Your left button switches to your front camera or selfie mode. The right, fast exposure. And then the down is play, where it shows you any of the videos that you've already stored. Display kind of displays the details down bottom here. You can see the way my phone is sitting right now is at this level. If I want the phone to go up, I hit the bottom trigger and I lift it up. And I hit the bottom trigger and I lift it up. And I hit the bottom trigger and I lift it up. And eventually I have it almost to where I want it. Let's see if we go this direction, it will turn. So again, if you need to log in real fast, swiping your phone, Face ID without standby mode. As you can see, when I change this, like let's say if I want to go straight up, and I'm pointing straight at the floor here, and then I tap the bottom trigger here and I come up this way. So now I'm pointing straight up and down. I can actually do this a lot quicker if I hit this mode. This is that phone mode, or phone go, I think they call it. If I go top trigger, my hands are actually big and I have a difficult time with this. So if I go top trigger, I can actually do this a lot quicker. So there is a definite difference in speed. It is good if you're trying to track somebody. Let's say if you're trying to track an object and you want to get over to it real fast and you don't want to wait for the gimbal to catch up. All you have to do is hit that rear button, and then when you spin it around, it's there. So instead of that smooth follow me mode where it tries to follow and then catch up to you, you can actually just phone go and whip it right around. So that's a nice trigger. Double tapping the bottom trigger button will bring you back into alignment. The zoom, and if you want to change this from zoom to focus instead, just simply hit that button, and now you're going in and out of focus. And then we have our other modes here. Under camera, we have our 180 degree panorama, 3x3 pano, multi exposure, long exposure, slow motion, time lapse, motion time lapse, and the vertigo mode. Now I will say I did notice with the Smooth 4, I took some shots. It had problems with its stitching. It just didn't lay correctly the way it was stitched, where it was very noticeable. And I didn't have any of those issues with the DJI. Then if you look at the grid, we can try to decide if we're level. And I'm not quite level here. I'm actually slightly off. Now I can calibrate this. Unfortunately for me to calibrate this, I need to plug it into my computer. There is no simple way to calibrate it through the actual software itself. Now we'll jump over to the lighter, better feeling in my hand, more balanced. It doesn't feel like it will put more stress on my wrist. It feels like it's a little easier to control because it is more balanced. Yeah, I may not have many buttons here, but I can easily get to them without feeling like I'm really stretching and trying to reach. I mean, I have big hands. It's uncomfortable. It doesn't quite fit right. You do have a charging port over here, by the way. It is over here on the side. It is a micro USB port, and you're supposed to be able to charge stuff with that micro USB port, except I can't find any cable that goes micro USB to female USB-A or micro USB to Lightning. 2-hour charge time on the DJI. I believe the Smooth 4 is also a 2-hour charge time. This charges with USB-C. This charges with micro USB. Now, is there any difference between micro USB and USB-C charging between these two models? No, not really. At least I don't believe so, in my opinion. Let's go ahead and put the phone in the DJI and hold down the mode button or the M, and that turns it on. Now I forgot to log in, common problem, so I'm going to hit the button once. This way I can look at myself, swipe up, launch the app. Now we can go back. Well, I don't know if you can notice on the camera, but yes, this one is off on the horizon, and I did that deliberately. So I'm going to connect to it. It also shows me the same typical stuff. The battery level of my phone, the battery level of the Osmo. White icon means I'm connected. If it's blue up there, that means I'm not actually connected. And then we have our adjustments up and down, left and right. With the joystick, we can change the modes to a follow me mode, or we can change the mode to another single tap, changes it to that lock mode. If I double tap it, it will bring itself back into alignment of where I told it should be in alignment. If I triple tap it, it will turn on the front facing camera. And then we do have our zoom control here as well. Seems to do a good job. And if you want to use focus, Filmic Pro is your best for using the focus. Now, as far as the follow me mode or track me mode, DJI definitely does this a lot better. Track the GoPro. So I'm going to draw a square around the GoPro. It does do the tracking mode a lot better. I didn't have too much good luck with the tracking mode on the Smooth 4. Smooth 4 tracking mode didn't seem to do much. It was more of a hassle trying to get it to work. Both of them, though, to my surprise, they do try to do tracking mode with the front facing camera. I didn't expect that. I figured tracking would only be the rear camera, but I was wrong. I was able to do tracking with the front facing camera on both of them. Well, as good as they work, DJI definitely outperforms Smooth 4 for tracking. This is nothing but software, so they may get better with their tracking, but Smooth 4 did claim that the tracking was better than the previous generation Smooth 3, and Smooth 3 I had a problem getting the tracking to actually work that well, and I don't see a difference between the Smooth 3 and the Smooth 4. So if they did do improvements on the tracking, I'd really like to know what it is and see a demonstration of that, because I haven't seen it yet myself. As far as features and menus, because it doesn't have as many buttons on the controller, right here you'll see the icon. This will indicate what mode you're in. If I tap that once, that icon will change. That's the lock, and that's the follow me mode. Everything else here is pretty much selectable through the actual menu. So your track me mode, you select that there. You select what you want to track. You can change the cameras either by touching the screen or triple clicking. Either one works. Over here you have your standard, your slow motion, your time lapse, hyperlapse, and your motion lapse as well. And then your home button. Over here you have your video resolution, and you'll notice that I can only do 4K at 30 frames a second, 1080 at 60 or 30, and 720 at 30. This is a downfall that I hope DJI does look to improve. It also has beauty effects. There's a little bit more of adjustments with the beauty effects. And it tells you the resolution automatically changes to 720p. I don't think anything's going to be able to change the beauty of me. I'm just screwed there. We have our pitch lock and we have our screen mode. Screen mode being the walk mode or the sport mode. So basically the same two modes that the other gimbal had as well, as far as how fast in motion you are. But here's where DJI sets it apart on the actual software side of things. We have our panoramic quality, so we can actually choose a low quality picture, middle, or a high quality picture for the panoramics. We can reset the camera, and we can save the unstitched photos. So just by turning this on or off, Basically, we can keep the raw photos that it was taking during the panoramic, and it will also keep the stitched photos as well. So if it does happen to screw up on stitching the photos together, you can still have the raw photos and you can offload them, and you can use another program on your computer to stitch them later if you want to. So I kind of like that feature. Over here under live, there's a live on the Smooth 4 as well. You have Facebook, Weibo, QQ Zone, Custom. This is where you actually put a URL into it, so it can be a custom broadcast as long as you know the actual. You'll have to set the URL up through that social media service ahead of time. And the one thing I would like to see Smooth do is get YouTube Live up and running. They do not offer YouTube Live. So if you're a big YouTuber and you're using this as your second cameraman to track you and follow you during a video, this may be the winning decision for you. If you change it from video to camera, your modes actually change over here. Now we have our single photo, our pano photo, or long exposure. Then we have our timed 2, 5, 10, and HDR. Nothing really changes over here. Everything else and all the other settings pretty much stay the same. Something I did notice, if you're running the iPhone 10, disable your attention awareness. Otherwise your screen will dim on you. It does dim intentionally during certain features with the DJI app, but when just doing a normal recording, it will actually dim on you as well. You don't want that to happen. Let's go for the wide. I think this is more equal to the 3x3 pano. But we'll take a look at it here in a second once it's done running its course. That is actually a really nice picture. It gives you a chance to look at it. The Smooth 4 kind of flashed it and then it went away, and then that was it. Now there is one thing I do like about the DJI. Under here, under Gimbal, it actually has a calibration mode. It has auto calibration and calibrate my horizon. Also, if you think it's going a little slow, because when I was at the store, I heard people making a comment about, well, it seems very slow. But in follow me mode, you saw how fast it was going, so we know it goes faster. There is an option to select fast here. Now this is in the up, down, left, right mode. We have the horizontal, vertical, or you can go free. Now if you choose free, at free we can actually go angle to angle, and then we also have the ability to invert our pan or our tilt sticks as well. And I'm going to put it on free here so I can just show you what I mean by free, and I'm going to put it back onto video camera. So in free, instead of just going up and down or left and right, I now have the ability to go from corner to corner and then bring it back, and the opposite corner to corner as well. That means you can do a 360. If you go slow enough, you can get that really dizzy 360 like effect, or if you go fast enough. I do know that the calibration, as far as calibrate horizon, does come in handy, because maybe your tripod's off, maybe the house that you're trying to shoot is off, you're standing and you're nice and level, and you're holding the gimbal in your hand and it's using its gyros and it thinks it's nice and level, but your shot in the grid is still off. And the reason for the shot in the grid being still off is because what you're shooting is off level. This actually gives you the ability, in fact, let me set this flat so you can actually see. So I can adjust the calibration of this just by tapping in 0.1 degree increments here, all the way down to 0. So once you're done, you tap the X on the corner. That's a nice feature, being able to calibrate that right from the settings in the application. You cannot do that on the Smooth 4. The Smooth 4 you have to plug into your computer and pull up the calibration application. And same thing with updating the firmware. Firmware is updated directly from the application. It downloads it, and then you can actually just install the new firmware over your phone to the gimbal using Bluetooth. To update the firmware over here, again, plug it into your computer. So this is more of a more mobile solution. I mean, I would hate to be out on a shoot and then find out that the shoot that I'm shooting is actually quite off level, but I did not bring my computer so I could adjust the horizontal on this. That would mean I would have to actually post edit the whole entire shoot to adjust my horizontal to get that right again, where I could actually just fix it on the fly right here. Also, when I get to the place I'm at, because of certain magnetic interference that may be in the area, maybe certain frequencies that may affect gyro compass that these gyroscopes use, this has the option when you change locations to do an auto calibration, and all you do is basically set it down, tell it to do its auto calibration, and you let it go. The auto calibration is done, and I have to say that's good. That's dead on. Like I said, I had that offset on purpose, a reminder to myself to demonstrate that you could change that horizon. Then there is the advantage of a normal USB port for charging, not this micro USB port that you somehow have to find some special adapters just to charge something. There's a normal USB port, so I can actually charge one thing while I'm actually using my phone. This acts more like your traditional gimbal. They both seem to be good gimbals as far as you're adjusting and using your joystick. This takes a little bit of getting used to, but I really do like that fast action, being able to whip that around real fast mode, and I like the fact that I can just kind of put it into standby, and one of them will start yelling at you when you're recording a video. It tells you you've hit your limit. If you go too far left and right in flashlight mode, there's a little message that pops up right down the bottom there. It says you hit your limit. When you're recording, we do have a red light indication there. When you're not recording, it's green. You can zoom in when you're recording and zoom out. Let's change to the front camera. Front camera, it will not do digital zoom, and that's fine because digital zoom just obstructs the view of your image anyway. On the Zoom 4, you can do rear camera and front camera zoom. So your front camera will be digital zoom, and of course you can expect lower quality from that digital zoom. So as far as all the differences between these, I think I've pretty much covered everything that I can at this point. Both very good mobile gimbals. They both do what they're designed to do. They're both controlled and used very differently. Filmic Pro does support the Osmo Mobile 2, which is a bonus. You can record at higher bit rates. You have more control over your actual shutter speed, your ISO, you have focus assistance, you have shutter speed assistance. There's a lot that Filmic Pro can do, so I highly recommend it to buy Filmic Pro if you're going to use it. Filmic Pro does not do panoramic shots and stuff like that, so if you want to do your panoramic shots and stuff like that, still install the DJI Go app and go back to your DJI Go app for your pano shots and stuff like that. And with Filmic Pro, you actually use this as your selector switch. So your zoom is your selector switch between different features and different modes, and it works very good. There's different tutorials out there on Filmic Pro. You can watch that separately. If you're a real estate agent and you're trying to get some good pano shots of inside a house, this is a really small, easy, nice setup, and it does the shots very fast. By the way, if you're charging off the USB port, all you do is plug in something into the USB port, just tap the button. And that's also how you check your battery mode, is just tap the button. I have a fairly long reach, and the thumb being the control holding this thing, and I still have a hard time hitting these buttons up top and holding this comfortably. Once you put the phone in the one that's more top heavy, it just becomes worse, especially depending on the type of phone you might have. And for me, using this one, this just feels that much more natural to me. So now the challenge is, how do we get these two gimbals to compare as just gimbals? That is my comparison of some of the main features between the Osmo Mobile 2 and the Smooth 4 gimbal. And which one is best for you really depends on what you're using it for, what your plans are for it, and how you use the gimbal. And I don't think one is any better than the other. I mean, it is nicer to adjust the horizontal here, and also be able to update the firmware without plugging into a computer. I do think they're both good gimbals. I don't think either one of them will have a problem in doing its functionality as was designed to be, which is a gimbal to hold a smartphone. It all comes down to your needs. What do you need it for? What are you going to use it for? You know, do you need that fast phone go mode, or are you going to be trying to track something really quick where you're going to be whipping your phone and you need the extra torque and lock on the motors? Do you like the controls, the manual controls? Are you one of those people that always want to take a perfect shot, but it's only a perfect shot if it looks perfect to you? So you always want to be able to adjust your settings constantly? Then yes, maybe this one is a better one for you. Because on this one, you're going to be constantly touching your phone. If charging something else while you're using it, then yeah, you definitely want the normal USB port. And you don't want to fuss around with a bunch of adapters and trying to piece together cables to get something to charge that you're trying to get to work. Then maybe the Osmo 2 is better for you. If you're really big on Filmic Pro, then the Osmo 2 is definitely better for you, because Filmic Pro is already compatible with it, and Zoom 4 is not compatible with Filmic Pro. You want something smaller that fits in your camera bag better. You can have something smaller and lighter in your camera bag and have the USB port to charge things with as well. Then the Osmo 2. What it's going to come down to in the very basics of it all is, how are these going to handle side by side with identical settings and shots? And that's what I plan to achieve, or at least try to achieve tomorrow, as long as the weather's right. I want to do it outside in the sun, and then we'll be able to actually take a look at that and see exactly how they look and see how they compare. And then I can slow down those side-by-side shots, and once I do that, maybe we'll have a better idea on which one has a better gyroscope image stabilization. Maybe we'll find out that one is worse than the other, or maybe we won't. Maybe we'll see that they're pretty much identical. It's really hard to say. These are two very, very similar gimbals, and they're actually fairly hard to figure out which one would be the best for you. Like I said, they are the same, but they are quite different at the same time. I hope this video was educational. I know it was long, and I know there's been 2 weeks in the works of doing this, and trust me, there's been a lot to this. That's going to be it for me for today. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hope it was educational. If you liked that video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. You know where that button's at. It's right next to the thumbs up one. And you know what? Either way, I don't care. You'll notice there's no ads on my videos. That's because I don't get paid for it. Nobody gave me this and nobody gave me this. I paid for both of these, and they are both mine. So this is a completely unbiased opinion, and I'm trying to be as fair as I can. Like I said, there's no good gimbal. There's no bad gimbal here. It's which gimbal is going to meet your needs and function and suit what you want it to do and how you want to use it. Thanks for watching. Give it a thumbs up if you like it. The next video, it will be a side-by-side comparison video shoot of two gimbals put together. Stay safe as always. Keep on tinkering, and I will see you in the next video.